Welcome to P2 Safety, one of the world's leading safety certification, training, consultancy, and exam preparation platform. Tools and courses to grow your safety career online. Today we will discuss about the balancing chemical equations. We all know that a balanced equation is a chemical equation in which mass is conserved and there are equal numbers of atoms of each element on both sides of the equation. As an example, the little boy on the seesaw weighs more than the little girl on the other side. That's why his side of the seesaw is on the ground and her side is up in the air. For a seesaw to balance, the two riders must be the same weight. A chemical equation that represents a chemical reaction is a little bit like a seesaw. For a chemical equation to balance, there must be the same number of each type of atom on both sides of the equation. Let's see what we need to know while writing a chemical equations. A chemical equation represents the changes that occur during a chemical reaction. A chemical equation has the general form. Reactants makes products. An example of a simple chemical reaction is the reaction in which hydrogen, H2, and oxygen, O2, combine to produce water, H2O. Equation 1. H2 plus O2 rightward arrow H2O. In this reaction, the reactants are hydrogen and oxygen and the product is water. To write the chemical equation for this reaction, you would start by writing the reactants on the left and the product on the right, with an arrow between them to show the direction in which the reaction occurs.
But look closely at equation 1. There's something wrong with it. Do you see what it is? Yes, you're right. All chemical equations must be balanced. This means that there must be the same number of each type of atom on both sides of the arrow. That's because mass is always conserved in chemical reactions. Count the number of hydrogen and oxygen atoms on each side of the arrow. There are 2 hydrogen atoms in both reactants and products. There are 2 oxygen atoms in the reactants but only 1 in the product. Therefore, equation 1 is not balanced. We should also know how to and why to use coefficients. Coefficients are used to balance chemical equations. A coefficient is a number placed in front of a chemical symbol or formula. It shows how many atoms or molecules of the substance are involved in the reaction. For example, 2 molecules of hydrogen would be written as 2H2, and 2 molecules of water would be written 2H2O. A coefficient of 1 usually isn't written. Coefficients can be used to balance equation 1, above, as follows. Equation 2. 2H2 plus O2 2H2O. Equation 2 shows that 2 molecules of hydrogen react with 1 molecule of oxygen to produce 2 molecules of water. The 2 molecules of hydrogen each contain 2 hydrogen atoms and so do the 2 molecules of water. Therefore, there are now 4 hydrogen atoms in both reactants and products. So again, do you think that the equation number 2, 2H2 plus O2 2H2O, is balanced? Count the oxygen atoms to find out. There are 2 oxygen atoms in the 1 molecule of oxygen in the reactants. There are also 2 oxygen atoms in the products, 1 in each of the 2 water molecules. Therefore, equation 2 is balanced. Remember steps in balancing a chemical equation. Balancing a chemical equation involves a certain amount of trial and error. In general, however, you should follow these steps. 1. Count each type of atom in reactants and products. Does the same number of each atom appear on both sides of the arrow? If not, the equation is not balanced, and you need to go to step 2. 2. Place coefficients, as needed, in front of the symbols or formulas to increase the number of atoms or molecules of the substances. Use the smallest coefficients possible. Warning! Never change the subscripts in chemical formulas. Changing subscripts changes the substances involved in the reaction. Change only the coefficients. 3. Repeat steps 1 and 2 until the equation is balanced.